Hey. Time for an out-of-this-world story from our space. Is it possible to let sleeping dogs lie? Or should we wake them from their slumber? Let's talk about that today on our space. A tell-all DNA test confirms our first OP's suspicion. Spouse probably cheated on me 25 years ago. Does it matter now? About 25 years ago, I was in the military and was on a 2-year assignment, a day's drive from where my 38-year-old wife and I lived. We had been married about 20 years at that point, so I only came home on the weekends. After the first year, wife started telling me to just stay there and not come home until my assignment finally ended. I refused and continued coming home on the weekends. She started treating me very coldly and not wanting to be intimate on those weekends. Then, after another 3 or 4 months, she started randomly accusing me of cheating on her and continued being cold towards me. When my remote assignment ended, I was given orders overseas for 3 years. So, I started preparing to rent out our house and move my wife and teenage sons. My wife constantly fought with me about it, saying she did not want to go and that I should go by myself. Also, during this transition, she was still cold and distant. My kids wanted to go, so she finally agreed to go. Once we got to the new location, she started constantly finding fault with everything with me in the location. So after 6 months there, I received permission to move her and my kids back home at the end of the year. The next 6 months were cordial at best. She was still cold but allowed some intimacy about once a week. As the end of the year drew closer, she became excited about moving back and withdrew from me again. She stayed withdrawn from me for the last month or so. I took 2 weeks leave about a week after she departed with the kids and went back home to help out. After about 3 hours of arriving, she was telling me to just leave and go back to my base. I stayed for about 10 days and returned to my base overseas. I was there for another 2.5 years. I would go home about every 4 months for 10 days and be treated the same way as I was the first time. We would be intimate maybe twice in those 10 days, but I got a feeling she was doing it out of a feeling of obligation rather than desire. Also, she acted as if she wasn't really happy I was there and even stated she would like it better if I did not come back home until my time overseas was finished. For that remaining 1.5 years, she remained cold and distant when I visited, and whenever I would call her to see if all was okay. If I mentioned I had went to a cookout or bowling, she'd accuse me of cheating and hang up. She would also constantly tell me everything was my fault and was always in her way of doing what she wanted. After I finally got transferred back to the coldness and distance remained. After 6 months back, I moved out. I stayed gone and even told her that if that is the way she was going to be, I wanted a divorce. So she agreed to marriage counseling. We went, but it was mostly a joke. She blamed her coldness and distance on me not understanding her and what she wanted. So I moved back home and just ignored it from then on. I left the military and got a job that required constant traveling. Now, 25 years later, we are both in our 60s and retired. I have a lot of time on my hands now and time for self-reflection. Hindsight is almost always 20/20. Now I question her actions as I look back and analyze them. Various articles I have read from persons who analyze cheating spouses. My wife's actions back then fit the pattern given by other cheaters. Even though I don't have the proof or smoking gun, there was plenty of smoke. Over the years since then, some of her friends and previous coworkers have made snide remarks about her possible cheating during get-togethers while the alcohol flowed. I have mentioned it to her a few times. She never denies what they say, but responds questioning their honesty or that they were probably doing themselves. We still have an occasional blowout. A few times I have been so emotionally drained by always being who she lashes out at that I leave for a few hours just to get my composure back. When I come back, I tell her that I will leave if that is what she wants. Then she immediately states that she never cheated on me and has always been faithful. To recap, 25 years ago, my wife exhibited the cheater's telltale symptoms listed by many professionals in the marriage counseling field. She pushed her spouse away, became distant, constantly found fault with her spouse, constantly denied cheating even though never accused of it, and constantly accused her remote spouse of cheating. Also, she constantly worked overtime on the weekends at her company, even though no one else there did except her boss. This occurred for about 3 years. So now to my question or dilemma. We've been married for 45 years now. I'm now questioning our entire married years. I can't bury it in the back of my mind anymore. Should I leave this sleeping dog alone? Or should I discuss it all with her and probably tear our marriage apart? Update. A few of her coworkers, also agent, are still around. They were also her friends. I have to be really careful because they stay in touch on Facebook. So I knew a couple of the husbands and will possibly try to talk with them. Two oldest kids were already out of the house. Youngest lived in the video game world and never paid much attention to her upcomings and goings. But I will talk with them a little. Update. So I tried to reach out to someone and was very careful what I said. His wife immediately called my wife asking why we were separated and other BS. Glad I did not actually ask my real questions. So this tells me I can't. So I would just confront her directly and try to get her to believe I actually know something and not just suspicion. Need to get my physical living accommodation set up here in the US first. Let's see how the community reacts. Know Who You Are 21 has this to say. Yes, it matters. To me, cheating is a deal breaker, so I'd be gone if I were in your shoes. I was, but I found out my wife was cheating in real time, and even though we'd been together over 24 years and married over 16 years with 3 children under 10 years old, I divorced her right away. You do you, but I see no need to discuss it with her. I just informed my lying, cheating wife I knew she was cheating, and I told her I was divorcing her, and that I would be moving out in 2 weeks, which is what I did. 5 months later, our divorce was finalized. I didn't ask her about the affair. I didn't want to hear her lies, her justifications, her excuses. Why? She cheated, and nothing she could say could or would change anything. I think anyone who's willing to point the finger at their spouse like she was means that she was probably the one that was doing the cheating. I think maybe it's easier for cheaters to point the finger to sort of take the suspicions away from them and project it on someone else. After all, I think it's bizarre that she never really wanted you home. It seems she definitely had the space to do whatever she wanted with whomever she wanted. I'm sorry you had to go through all of that for so long, OP. I think eventually, things find their way back to the surface. You shouldn't have to continue to bury it. Update. It has been a while since my original post and short update. I might have posted an update after the ones on the original post, so I confronted her. She denied and kept asking who told me. She then just brushed it off, as whoever it was must be jealous of her. Even after I itemized her behavior back then in detail, she just continued to deny, then started accusing me of not being nice back then and that I hurt her by not trusting her. She also kept wiping non-existent tears. Now this discussion was over video chat, so there might have been tears. But as soon as I backed off, she just started saying I just had bad communication with her, etc. Since then, I tried to get past it. Took her on a Caribbean cruise, but I just don't have those loving feelings. At this point, I don't wish her any misfortune, but just want to leave her. Now my oldest son and his family decided to get ancestry DNA tests. Told me the wife and I should. So I did, and I had my youngest do it also. Turns out my oldest son and my youngest son are only half brothers. The DNA test also shows that my oldest son is not my biological son. My youngest is. I never suspected this, but there was no fidelity. My wife was pregnant for about a month before we met. 2.5 months into our relationship, she told me she was pregnant. I was 19, so I assumed it was mine. I was quite naive and stupid then. So my upbringing and my infatuation convinced me I needed to marry her. So I ended up raising 2 kids that weren't mine. She had a 4-month-old when we met, and one that was. I love the 2 oldest just as much as my youngest. That was never changed. I have not told the wife about this yet. I need to discuss it with my oldest son and then all 3 of them. Then I will also inform them that I'm divorcing them and her mother. The 2 oldest will have to ask who their biological fathers are. I have no clue. Then I will video chat with her and inform her of everything and my intentions to file. I still feel that there was at least an emotional affair and possibly a physical affair 25 to 30 years ago, but I most likely will never know for sure. My decision is really based on the years of the emotional and threatened physical abuse, constant lack of respect for me, and lack of empathy or consideration for anything I needed or wanted. I will post additional updates as significant actions are taken. Let's see what the community has to say about all of this. Primary Control 8881 says, "Oh my gosh, why did you stay married to her for so long? I read the original post and what you went to is so horrible. She will get her karma though." Playful Arm 8590 says, "Whatever you do, please seek counseling for you and your kids. The damage she has done is life-changing. I'm sorry, man." Life Yogurt Closet 98 says, "All that time wasted. You could have been with someone who respected you while co-parenting. Sorry, that's really the only thoughts on my kind, OP. It's crazy you stayed so long, and it's crazy how girly parts whipped her friends' husbands are to narc on you like that. You're already accusing her of cheating, you might as well tell her friends and not the husbands. Just be direct. Good luck though. I hope you find something worthwhile." The OP replies, "Back then if I knew she was pregnant with someone else's child, I would not have married her. so no co-parenting would have been required by me. Oh boy, this is some serious news. I feel like this information alone is enough to come to a conclusion about whether to say or go OP. At the same time, it's a shame your kids had to find out this way. Last update. At the end of my last update, I was going to tell my kids the truth and then the wife. I told my kid that 5 days ago. It was pretty tough. All of my kids took it pretty good, but I think my oldest son may still be processing it. I also informed my oldest child their paternity. Also, not shocked at all. I do not know if their biological dads are the same individual or two different men, so the oldest child will get a DNA test also. I told both of them to ask their mom. Hopefully she will remember and tell them. I decided to just text my wife instead of video chat. After 40 plus years, I knew that would end badly. I would probably lose my composure and blow up. That would not have helped. Also, I'm pretty emotional over this. The text was short and to the point. DNA test, child is not mine and only half sibling to the youngest. I stated I did not accept being lied to for 40 plus years, that the marriage was over, and that I was filing for divorce. She replied shortly after that. I did not respond to any of her texts. First, it was a misunderstanding about her lying to me and that she did not know. Then it was just us having bad communication. Then she was sorry I had too much hate for her, and she would sign the papers and hoped I would find someone to make me happy. Next, the blaming me for everything and that I never cared and never trusted her. Still, I did not respond. Then the anger really kicked in, and she agreed the divorce would be best, and to get it over with. All of her texting was over about 2 days. Then there was a lull for a day. I texted her that I would only text her regarding the kids, grandkids, and the divorce from now on. I included the financial support she will get and how. She gets half my military and federal pensions. She asked if I would just send all her belongings to her. I said I would. Since then, it has been dead silence from her. She has contacted the two eldest about everything. I have not done the paperwork yet. We'll do that shortly. That's all for now. Oh boy. I'm not surprised that she was playing the blame game for her own irresponsibilities and infidelity. It definitely seems like she couldn't care less. It's unfortunate that she will get half of your pensions. She's the most undeserving. I'm also sorry that you stayed with her for so long, only for her to treat the relationship and the news so nonchalantly. Please take care of yourself. What would you do in OP's situation? Our next OP asked if it's possible to find closure in seeking retribution. Well, is it? You tell us. To those that took the high road, did God, karma, universe do its thing to the cheating partner? Did they ever get what's coming? Whatever that looks like. I can't call HR. Some do, some don't. It's been 6 months and I haven't even seen a text to the affair partner telling her all the vile things she deserves to hear. I'm basically holding back any retribution, revenge, and I just want the natural law to take its course. Wanted to hear thoughts from others on this. Ness Shot has the first thought. Was with my soon-to-be ex-wife for 15 years, married for almost 10, with a 6-year-old son. Found out she had been cheating for about 5 years and with a steady affair partner for about 4. She told me she was leaving and I begged to work on things and get her back. She still left and I was heartbroken and became extremely depressed and needed to go to therapy. Fast forward a few months. Ex moved in with her affair partner and he promptly moved back out within a week and back in with his ex-girlfriend. So now my ex is flat broke and in debt, lives with her dad, and has a very weird throuple relationship with the affair partner and his girlfriend, while I'm in a new, very happy relationship with someone I find highly attractive. The sex is plenty and amazing. Got a raise and a bonus at work. Have full custody of our son and generally am living my best life. All the while, I've been treating my ex as nicely as possible while her world falls apart, and my life has just been getting better and better. She even tried to get back with me a while back and I immediately shut her down. She says all the time that her life now is her karma for what she did, and she's not wrong. Funny how things work out sometimes. Seamus Wood checks in with, I didn't feel like I needed a revenge as I knew karma would not only run them over, but back up and run them over again. I had her served at a hotel where they were supposedly going for a professional conference. After she was served, she called and said that I was wrong and that she was actually at a conference. I said I was greatly relieved and asked her to send me a photo of her standing next to one of the professional organization's banners, or send me a copy of the official agenda for the conference. She lost it at that point, and I hung up. My lawyer had someone in the lobby of the hotel who videoed the guy from the sheriff's office giving her the envelope with the paperwork in it. She had no idea that I knew what was going on. I talked to a affair partner's wife about an hour or two before wife was served. Affair partner's wife checked PC and cloud and found videos of affair partner with my wife and several other women. She kicked him out when he returned on Sunday. He stayed at a hotel pretending the conference was actually going on. Wife was fired from work, lost her professional reputation. Kids hated her and wouldn't talk to her. Son still doesn't talk to her after almost 5 years, and daughter rarely talks to her. She was placed in psych hospital multiple times over years. The first time, almost immediately after she found out he was also with at least 2 other women at the time, besides her and his wife. It was suggested that he leave the graduate program that he was almost done with. Heard he got into a new program halfway across the country at a very small college, but had to start his program from square one. Love revenge and revenge stories as much as the next person. But for me, I don't feel the need to do anything as I believe that they will get what they deserve. And even if they don't, they still would have to live with being the terrible people they are, which is more punishment than I could ever inflict on them. Just a slice of hope has a contribution. To answer your main question, yes. He lost his house and lives in a run-down trailer with no heat or water. Affair partner lost her job and certification and had to move far away as she was shunned by everyone. Are your partner and affair partner still having an affair? And she's still his boss, right? Per your previous posts, you've mentioned for months that she's promised him a promotion is still not gotten. Are there other employees that would not get the promotion she's promising him due to their affair? There has to be, right? Or she can't be promising it just to him. You don't need to call their HR. You can create an anonymous email and send it to them and the bosses. You can write an email from the point of view of another employee in such a way that it's all on her. That there is some other unnamed person or multiple individuals being overlooked the promotion that's been talked about due to their sexual misconduct to him. Say you have overheard the sexual advances and you're sure it's become sexual blackmail for the promotion. That you, anonymous person, want a fair chance at any promotion being offered to the company. You can hint you know she's advanced on him, but unsure if she's doing it to others too. Now, since it's his boss, she should have consequences. He might throw himself over the ledge to protect her, or he'll try saving himself and his reputation. But bosses doing this to a subordinate normally means termination to prevent a lawsuit. Let HR and the bosses deal with it. Maybe he'll get the promotion anyway due to his merit and not for having an affair. Best Program 446 chimes in next. In the same situation literally right now, my ex still hasn't signed separation papers. Supposed to by the end of the week. His affairs have all been on his job and company dime. He's literally out of town right this minute for work, either hanging with a affair partner or out at strip clubs with company people. It's a hard pill to swallow, but I truly believe karma never misses an address. I have the prize, our 7-year-old son, and I'm getting the house, alimony, all the money, a business we own, etc. The cream always rises to the top. My ex will be broke in a few years, probably love bombing someone else, and I'll be free from the narcissistic, sociopathic abuse. Hang in there. You aren't alone. Hugs. Doppelganger 2621 has the last thought. For a while, yeah, this is what I wanted. But then after a while I realized that, even after my divorce, I was still letting my ex control my happiness. Karmic justice or retribution or revenge can bring temporary happiness to a crappy situation, but ultimately, it's still letting a broken person control you. I can't even begin to describe how great reaching the feeling of meh towards a wayward spouse or partner is. We have get-togethers but can't just completely cut her out of my life. But it's really nice to never think about her. It's nice to not give a crap what she's doing or worrying about if karma is going to get her. That said, if people ask why we divorce, I tell them she had multiple affairs. I'm not going to lie to people to help her save face. But other than that, as I said earlier, I think things always have a way of coming up to the surface. Sipping dogs don't stay sleeping. I think it takes a great deal of strength not let our emotions get the best of us in these situations. That being said, it's totally okay to have emotion and feel the feels. That's an immense part of the healing process. What do you think? Would you say something? Would you remain silent? Let us know what you would or what you have done in the comments below. Thank you for joining us today in our space. Like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. We'd hate for you to miss out. Oh, and if you want to listen to more stories from me, check out our lounge, where I feature a larger variety of non-cheating related stories. See you there.